All right, let's talk about interest in the role. Interest or excitement, passion for the role that you're interviewing for. Interest is one of the key building blocks to demonstrating that you're job ready. And this is so important, but it's rarely ever talked about, or in my opinion, under talked about when preparing for the interview process and preparing for the job. And it's so important that I've hired people alone on their interest and excitement and passion for the role. 10 out of 10 times, if I'm comparing two candidates on paper that have the same knowledge and the same experience, I'm picking the candidate that is just overflowing with interest and excitement and passion for this role because I know that if I hire them, they're going to be dedicated to doing the job well and doing the job long term. So important. Let's talk about now, how do we demonstrate this in the job search and the interview process? So before we go too deep here, some background knowledge that you should have, right? You should understand the main objective of the role already. You should understand what the day-to-day tasks are for this role and what does a career path look like. If you don't know these things, go watch our videos on role knowledge and role experience. It's going to help you break these down, but these are fundamental. Once you know these things, once you understand the role inside and out, then it's easier to talk about why that role excites you so much. So let's get into this. Let's get into a couple reasons why the role might excite you. And these are some examples of things that you can talk about during the interview process, right? The question you're probably going to get asked is, why do you want to do this job? Or why do you think you'll be great at this job? Or why does this role simply excite you is something you might hear. And so a couple of things you might want to talk about. So you could talk about the daily activities of the role, what you're doing on a day-to-day basis, why that gets you so excited. You can talk about the growth potential in the role, right? Going from this role to the next role to the next role above that. And how this role is going to prepare you for where you want to go. You can talk about all the learnings you're going to get out of the role, curiosity of the potential role. You can talk about earning potential. Money sometimes is seen as like a taboo topic to talk about in the interview process, but for a lot of roles, especially a sales role or a role where you're revenue generating, people love to hire people that are financially motivated. And even for a non-revenue generating role, I think it's fine to talk about. Everyone is human and everybody knows that compensation is important to talk about, or is an important piece of the total job package to consider. So I think it's okay to talk about that. Actually, I know it is okay to talk about that as well. And then team environment, that's another thing that might excite you about the role. So the way I like to think about this is, once you understand the fundamentals of the role, then you can start thinking about what really excites you. One exercise here to help you kind of pull this out is, think about where you want to be 3, 4, 5 years down the road, right? What role or title do you want to have within a company in the future? And then work backwards. How do you get to that place? The role that you're applying for today probably helps you get there. So you can talk about how learning and being great at this role is going to prepare you for the future role that you want. And that's why you're so excited, right? You've got this bigger reason, this bigger why that you're chasing. So the interviewer or the hiring team is going to see that, okay, I understand that this candidate is really excited because they want to get to this next stage of their life, their career. That's really cool. I know that they're not going to stay in this entry level role forever, but I know that they're going to be so passionate about it while they're doing it for the next 12 to 18, 24 months, because they have a bigger reason, a bigger motivator pulling them forward. So what I want you to do is to think about these reasons, start writing them down. Now, you may be thinking along the way that this role isn't exciting you that much. And if that's the case, think about two things. One, maybe this isn't the role for you, and maybe you should be thinking about something else. And if that is the case, then that's fine. Go start to explore some other roles. Maybe you do need to make a switch, and better to make that now than to take a role that you don't really like and to be stuck in it for a while and then go start the process all over again. But the second one here is more common, which is you might feel some imposter syndrome, or you might just feel a little uncomfortable, really leaning into this role, and that's okay. That's so natural and that's so normal, and you should know that everybody feels that to some extent. And the best advice here is just to fake it until you make it. Go watch, if you haven't already, Amy Cuddy's TED Talk video on imposter syndrome and faking it till you make it, because this is by far the best way to really just overcome some of these feelings of imposter syndrome or unworthiness, is really just to start to pretend. And as you pretend, you'll start to sell yourself more on it. And then before you even know it, you'll be fully committed and leaning in. But let's assume that you are excited about this role and you feel great and you're ready to go. How do you start to prepare for the interview process? The fundamentals here are to start thinking about what excites you the most. Start writing that down. Take a bunch of notes. Start to formulate your thoughts. Start to think about why do those things excite you. The deeper that you can go and the more you can connect the reasons to each other, the more you're going to be able to sell yourself on it, and the more you'll be able to sell the interviewer on it. And then think about long term. Again, what does your career path look like? Not just a career path, but your career path. Where do you want to get to, and how does this role help you get that? If you can start to write this down, you can talk about it out loud. If you can explain this to your friends and family, you're going to feel more comfortable in the interview process. And that's what all this is about, is starting to feel comfortable prior to interviewing, so that when you get to that interview process, you're crushing it, you're feeling confident, and you're going to land that job.